Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, Earthlings. We meet again, and lots to talk about. Once again, no guesses for where I am. Yes, my watch is on time. Recognise that noise? You can't see him because of the backlight. I love that guy. I love Big Ben. I know the tower's not called Big Ben, but everybody calls it Big Ben. To me, that's what it is. So, Piers Morgan has named the alleged, I emphasise the word alleged, racists in the royal family. As I said yesterday, King Charles, and then, much to my astonishment, to hear that the other name is none other than Catherine, the Princess of Wales. Right, I'm going to talk about this as a PR look, right? Public relations, as well as a few of my own thoughts and opinions, which I have a lot. Catherine, Princess of Wales, the least likely candidate to be a racist. From a PR standpoint, what I think an awful lot of people are going to think is people who didn't think Meghan was involved in writing this book Endgame, and I personally think she's had a lot. I think they're now going to think, yeah, Meghan's written this, and I think the conclusion, a fair conclusion they could draw, is she's done it out of pure spite and jealousy, because she is so jealous of the beautiful, graceful, polite, quiet, mild-mannered Princess of Wales. Scobie might as well have said Princess Diana was a child murderer. I mean, or perhaps he could have ripped the wings off some butterflies, or drowned some kittens, or stamped on some puppies. It would have the same effect for Meghan, wouldn't it? In fact, Meghan could just go the whole hog and wear a I Love Jimmy Savile t-shirt as of today, and historians will be talking about and debating the debacle of Markle for hundreds of years to come. Believe me, they still haven't shut up about David and Wallis. And as for Henry VIII, I bet he thought at the time, well, I'll cut a couple of heads off my wives. People will forget about it by next week, and here we are, 400 years later, and schools still study that subject. TV adaptations endlessly examining the Tudors and their behaviour. Oh, dearie me. She thought she'd just go on Oprah, say a little bit of shit. In an Instagram speed world, it'll all be forgotten by next week, and she would have got what she wanted. Doesn't work like that in the Windsors. Doesn't work like that for the royal family. Catherine and William, I think, are going to the Royal Variety performance tonight, and I'm sure she will look divine. I'm sure William will look divine. I'm certain they will hold their heads up high, and I would imagine they're not going to say anything. But what will happen is various A-listers, for example, people like Tom Cruise, other A-listers, that girl, I always forget her name, the singer. She's a very pretty, very famous singer. And I always want to say Taylor Swift, that's the one. She's really pally with William. I think the A-listers are going to come out in support of Catherine and William in the days and weeks to come. Now, as far as Piers naming the two royals, I think that was a good plan. I know that some people are upset. I think Angela Levin is one. But what you've got to do when you're in a blackmail situation is get it out in the open. Don't pay the blackmailer. Don't give in to them. Don't give an inch. Don't give them what they want. Say, okay, let's tell the world. I've often said I'm probably one of the worst people in the world to try and blackmail, actually. And I have had people in the past try and do it. You are what you are. You've done what you've done. But in this instance, Catherine being racist, fuck off. No chance. No chance. Charles, racist, no chance. Absolutely no chance. This is all designed out of jealousy and spite on the part of Meghan. Why? I mean, Scobie didn't just pluck this out of thin air. He's already said he has friends in common with Meghan. I don't know who those friends are. she's got a pal called Marcus Anderson, and I notice again Piers doesn't really touch on that subject, and I do detect that something is coming. Marcus Anderson is in the crosshairs of the British press. I mean, what we're about to see is there is the expression the shit hitting the fan, which it's about to, but in England, I mean, I don't know if people use it in other places, but an expression we have that we often say, I often say it myself, is the shit's about to right royally hit the fan. Well, in this case, literally right royally hit the fan. It's unbelievable. I mean, who in their right minds would think any of this a good idea as PR to try and help Meghan? Who? A lunatic, that's who. It couldn't be anybody else. It'd have to be a crazy person thinking this is good PR. This is terrible PR. Oh, so much. I mean, my head is spinning with what are they thinking? In the short term, they'll probably feel, oh, we've damaged the royals. But I think they will discover to their cost in the days, weeks, months, years, decades, and centuries, this is a terrible idea. Terrible idea. Oh well, her choice. Wish granted. Never mind. So I'm hoping to see Catherine in something. Well, I'll be very interested to see what she does wear tonight. I'm sure she'll look fabulous. And I would also say that the findings of the inquiry, and it wasn't an inquiry, it was an internal review at Buckingham Palace about how staff are treated. I would suggest that if there are any non-disclosure agreements that prevent the previous alleged victims of bullying of the Sussexes, those should be lifted. And if those people want to go to the press and tell their story of how they were treated by Harry and Meghan, this is the perfect moment. Then let the world see what sort of behaviour was going on behind the scenes. Those people have every right. Now, the only people I've ever really heard say, oh no, it would be awful, the victim's identity must be protected, is either the Sugars, or there was one rather dubious YouTuber last year, or was it the year before, who's since disappeared, who it turned out wasn't on our camp after all. Some of you will remember that person. It was quite a small channel, it's long gone now. But that particular YouTuber kept very loudly saying, nah, don't expose the victims of bullying now. You guys know who I'm talking about. And I always found it a bit sus that she was always saying that, keep it under wraps. And then as it turned out, well, we all found out what she was. So yes, I think it's time that, as Piers says, by him naming who the alleged racist royals are, he's getting it out into the open so it can be scrutinised by the public. And I hope other mainstream media in the UK have the cojones to start talking about it, because that's what liars and narcissists don't like. They hate scrutiny. They hate awkward questions. They hate when everybody starts to put together the actual timeline, the real truth, not my truth, perceived truth, muddying of the waters, twisting facts. No, they hate it when it comes under close scrutiny. And I believe this one is going to come under very close scrutiny. The type of scrutiny that we as a group in this community have been scrutinising for 3 years now. And when the general public start hearing the things that we've all known for a long time, oh boy, I hope you've all got your popcorn ready. And there will, of course, come a moment when people start to look into places like Lesotho, bot farms, troll farms, who pays for it, where it comes from, the bullying of individual YouTubers, the attempt to silence people, the attempt to stop Americans with their First Amendment and free speech. All of it will come out. All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. I mean, 2 weeks ago when I said endgame equals the end of the game for Meghan and Harry, even I couldn't imagine how determined Meghan is to destroy herself. She doesn't need any enemies. H.G. Tudor's right. He did a countdown last year to the 10 most dangerous people to Meghan. the 10 most threatening people to Meghan. And number one was Meghan herself. And he was absolutely right. Oh dear. Now, as far as the titles are concerned, for there's so much to talk about, this could be a longer video, I don't think the titles will be removed. I don't think the titles will ever be removed. For a start, technically it's quite a legally involved thing to do. Secondly, now that they've done this, if Charles or anybody were to suggest removing the titles, it would look like revenge. And I don't think Charles or Catherine or the royal family need revenge. They're way up their alto. Harry and Meghan are way down there in the gutter with Omid Scobie. Let them keep the titles. I'm from Sussex. I don't like the fact that the county of Sussex is going to be synonymous with that pair of losers forever after. But, you know, the good people of Windsor, does it really do you down having David and Wallis? Nah. And the royal family still live there, don't they? It'll become a name synonymous with them and their bitterness and their spite and their revenge and their jealousy and their failures. That's what it will become synonymous with, not the actual county of Sussex. So I think they will keep the titles because Charles doesn't want to look vengeful, and I'm sure he's upset enough as it is. But what I do think will happen is I never really thought the royal family would allow Harry to sink financially and completely cut him loose. I always believed they'd let him run out of money and they'd come and rescue him once he's sort of said, okay, fair enough, I was wrong, I should never have married her and all that. I don't think so now. I think they'll sit off until they see him sitting in the gutter. I don't think they'll come to his rescue at all. And they don't really need to now. I mean, before, they would have had to, because it would have looked like they were just leaving him to drown in his own debt and poverty. Whereas now, after this vicious assault, they've kind of been given a green pass to just say, Harry, you know, Daily Mail, you can get your shopping trolley shot, get pictures of Harry and Meghan, fag hanging out the mouth, pushing a shopping trolley in a supermarket in a filthy old tracksuit. Loads of empty cans in the trolley. Can you imagine that? You know what the Daily Mail's like. They love to get those photos, the historical photos. Oh, how far they've fallen and how publicly, with the entire world watching. It must be awfully humiliating for Meghan. I think I'd better leave it there. Thank you very much for listening.